Hello, everybody, and welcome to this SSC alumni webinar on how to make your LinkedIn profile stand out and how to strategically build and expand your professional brand online. My name is Anna Månsson, and I work at the alumni office here at the Stockholm School of Economics, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here today, both students and alumni, and from 22 different countries. Wow. First, I want to start out with some housekeeping rules. So due to the number of participants, we've muted you, but we encourage you to share your thoughts, comments, and submit any questions you have to the speaker in the chat to me, Anna Månsson. There will be time for a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So keep the questions coming. Also, we'll be recording the webinar and make it available afterwards. But now let's start the program. So in today's world of work, having a professional LinkedIn profile is as important as having a resume. But is your LinkedIn profile up to par? We're pleased to invite you to this webinar with Anna Kalashnikova, Senior Customer Success Manager at LinkedIn and SSC alum, will tell us all about this and share her insights into what makes an outstanding LinkedIn profile. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much, Anna. Nice to see everyone joined, indeed so many people, and always, well, I wish we could do this in person, times change, but always nice to kind of be back at SSC in a way. I've already done this kind of session 2 years ago, I believe, with a colleague as well, so always happy to kind of come back. So yeah, I'm Anna. I work at LinkedIn as a Senior Customer Success Manager since 2.5 years approximately. My role is to work with our customers to help them optimize the solutions they have with LinkedIn, especially when it comes to hiring. I actually did work at SSC or study at SSC before in the master's program back in 2010 to 2012. And I also did the SEMS program back then. So it was really great times and I really missed that. And I hope, well, if we have some students here that you really appreciate your time at SSC because I think it's just so much fun. I will today be sharing my screen with a presentation and some slides, and then I will also be sharing a demo. So I will actually start with some slides first, and hopefully this will work well. Let's see. I hope that you can see them now. So I've already introduced myself, so I will skip that part, of course. But kind of to kick off the session, something I wanted to do is, I'm just really curious, how are you who are on the call today using LinkedIn? So we wanted to run a quick poll and ask you some questions about that. I believe that Yu-Chen can actually help me launch that. So let's see what kind of answers you would like to give. So I can read the questions maybe as well, if you would like, but it is about, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do you have a profile picture? Do you have a summary? And do you follow companies on LinkedIn? And how often do you post on LinkedIn? Interesting, a lot of answers already. I can see that the majority has a LinkedIn profile. That's great. Also, a lot of people have a profile picture. Many people have summary, but not everyone. And I can see that a lot of people are not posting on LinkedIn actually, or very rarely or occasionally. Okay, shall we give it a little bit more time? Yu-Chen, how do you think? Or
I think the majority of people have already answered, so I will end polling.
All right, so that's very interesting results. Thank you so much for answering. Yeah, so great that so many people have a LinkedIn profile. I think it's a great tool to have in the digital economy of today. So if you don't, you can always register, of course, and get one. Profile picture 89%, great. Really important to have a profile picture. We will talk about it in a few seconds as well in a bit more detail. Summary, less people have a summary, but still 60%, the majority. Very interesting. I will speak about the summary today. It's also one of very important things I would recommend to add to your profile. And I will also explain why. Following companies, also a very interesting topic. And I will be touching upon that. Good to see that many people are actually already following companies, meaning that you are receiving updates from them, news, and whatever can be relevant into your LinkedIn feed. And posting, as I mentioned, so not so many people are posting on LinkedIn. Actually, the majority never posts. But there are some people who post every week and also 40% occasionally. I will speak about sharing updates on LinkedIn, also why you should be doing that. So I hope that maybe after this session, you will be more encouraged to do that whenever it's relevant for you. Thank you for this. With that, let us kick off the presentation. There we go. So I will speak just a little bit in the beginning about getting to know LinkedIn. So what is the LinkedIn network about? Kind of, yeah, how big it is and what you can get out of using it as a member. A little bit more on getting noticed. So how does your LinkedIn profile, what information should it contain? How you should be filling it in order to get noticed. Also a little bit on the why. And then in the third part, we will talk about some career tips with LinkedIn, especially for students and young professionals, how to build your network and community. But I think it's also relevant if you already have work experience. It's relevant anyway. So, LinkedIn. It's a big network. Maybe you've heard before. Also, LinkedIn is growing very rapidly, around 2 new members per second. So this number, even when I got it a few weeks ago, it's already higher, 722 million members. So it's more in reality by now. There are more than 50 million companies represented on LinkedIn as well. Every day you can see more than 11 million jobs open. There are 36,000 skills. What does that mean? That actually means that, the kind of skills and competencies that people put on their profiles, we have sort of map them out per person. And overall, there's as many as 36,000 different skills represented on the LinkedIn platform. 90,000 schools and universities, so educational institutions as well. So that is also a very, very important group on LinkedIn. And really what this slide even means is what LinkedIn strives for is kind of to build what we call an economic graph. So essentially it's a digital representation of the global workforce. Of course, with 722 million members, we're not yet there to cover everyone, but we have gone a long way and we're growing, as I mentioned. So that is really the goal, to be this kind of digital map of the global workforce. And the mission of LinkedIn, unless you have ever heard about it, is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And that can be about anything. It doesn't only have to be about finding a job, but it can be about finding helping a salesperson find buyers. It can be about advertising as well, finding prospective buyers via marketing, but it's all about connecting. And of course, last but not least, it's about the network that you build yourself and connect with other people. We know that the world of work is changing. Of course, when it comes to the job market, students and graduates are facing complex, very fragmented workforce and many pathways. It can be difficult to kind of understand and decide what you would like to go for. And I think apart from the competition, which is definitely something that that is very strong on the labor market right now. Another very interesting thing is that skills is something that we can see emerging continuously on a daily basis. There constantly emerge new skills. Every year we see, when we make our research about that, we see new skills coming up that maybe even last year were not even on the map at all. And especially now with the COVID, this has increased this kind of pace of changes even more. So one of the kind of things I would like you to reflect in today's session. So what skills do I have? And don't think about, your dream job title or something. Think about what you can do. And this can be hard skills, but as well as important, it can be soft skills. Actually, soft skills are growing in importance all the time. And think about how you would like to, use your skills, develop them continuously, and apply them in your work. And this is not a one-time thing to think about. It's rather a continuous process, because, as I mentioned, skills are constantly emerging, and the reality is so that once we learn something, we probably need to unlearn that in a couple of years and learn something new, and that is totally fine. It doesn't depend on us. We kind of should accept it, to be honest, and just go with it, because that's how the world is right now. Disruption, and I mean, while talking about skills, I touched upon that, but so many things are changing, and the technology appearing all the time on the market is, of course, disrupting entire industries. It's disrupting the other new technology that just appeared. So, of course, this is also something that is influencing modern career paths as well. So what can LinkedIn actually do for you as a student or a graduate or a young professional when it comes to building your career? It helps you connect. It can help you connect to the professional world. So build your network, find people that can actually be of help, that can maybe help you to your next opportunity, or share very important and interesting information with you, which can also be super relevant. It can help you stay informed. And here I also think staying informed is also extremely crucial when it comes to being ready for the job market. It's not only about, it is of course about the professional news and what's going on in the industries you're interested in, but it's also about what skills, for example, are relevant right now, and how can I make myself relevant as a professional. And of course, it can help you get hired and build your career overall. So I mentioned there's a lot of jobs available on LinkedIn. So you can use it for searching jobs. There is also great tools available for you, which are free when it comes to, for example, preparing for interviews or building your resume. I will show later on in the demo how you can find these tools. But I just wanted to highlight that there's a lot of free resources you can actually access through LinkedIn that can help you with this. So let's talk about your LinkedIn profile first. We discussed that majority of you already has a profile. That is fantastic. and the majority already has a photo. But I just wanted to highlight that if you don't have a photo, please add it. Simple as that. My recommendation. Profiles with a photo get 21 times more profile views actually than profiles without a photo. How should the photo look like? What photo should it be? So it should show you alone. It can be either just your face or maybe like face and torso. It's preferably neutral background or nothing like super distracting attention. And preferably professional clothing in a way, or that meaning, how do you look at work, or how would you like to look at work? Smiling is really good as well, can really help. Like on this example, the person is not smiling, but smiling is totally fine and really, really welcome. But just think of, this is how I look or want to look at work. And take a picture of yourself or ask someone to help in that. We don't recommend, to have pictures with your family or pets or friends. So nothing like that, or no selfies actually, unless it's not a self, it's like a very professional selfie. You can make that as well. There are other social networking platforms for that. But we do recommend a fairly professional photo. It doesn't need to be taken by a professional photographer. It can, but it doesn't have to, but it needs to represent yourself professionally. Second, education. Make sure, of course, that you add that, especially if you're a student or you're starting your career only. Maybe you don't have many years of work experience behind you just yet. Of course, education is crucial. It's also good to add academic awards and honors you may have received, or add any activities, including student positions in SASE, for example, or similar, or student clubs that you have held. And now work experience. So profiles with work experience are actually 10 times more likely to get messaged. So whichever kind of work experience you have from before, if you're a student and you don't have, again, full-time, many years of experience, that's fine. Add what you have been doing, maybe as internships or part-time work. It can still showcase kind of that you've been active and you've been doing many things before, actually. One thing I would really like to mention, which is extremely important when you're writing about your work experience. So think about keywords. Why am I saying this? So, as everything online, or like any probably network as well, or Google, or whatever you imagine, everything works on keywords, right? So if you don't add keywords to your profile, or words to describe, what to do, you cannot be found. The way recruiters work on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn offers, enterprise solutions to companies who actually want to hire talent. I will be showing you today briefly LinkedIn Recruiter, which is a solution that recruiters use to find talent. And when they use the solution, they put in keywords to identify top talent that they want. If you don't have those keywords on your profile, they will never find you. So not only think of job title, absolutely important, but also think of, okay, so I have worked with this and that. How do people in my industry usually describe that work? How would someone looking for a person like this would actually look? What would they write? Try to think from their end, what they do, and then use those words to actually describe what you do as well. And it's very easy to, just visit some profiles of other people with experience that you may know or heard of, and just see what they wrote. I mean, why not? And kind of think of that in this sense. There was also a question I received before this session about, so how kind of big my profile should be, how much information should I put in there or in the work experience and so on. So I just want to mention that just as much as you feel, there is no right or wrong, but just make sure that all of the keywords that you want to be found by are mentioned. So that means, like, the question I think was, should I have like a lean and very neat profile with almost no information, or should I have an extensive profile with a lot of information? If you ask me, extensive profile with a lot of information is better because it gives you more chances to be found. But of course, you don't have to write, a page of what you have been doing at your work. Just think of a couple of paragraphs maybe, or something like that is enough to do this. Volunteer experience. Again, especially if you're a student, this can be really relevant. It can be, maybe you want to add your SASE experiences or like your student association experiences to this section or something else. Go ahead. This is also very valued by hiring managers when you have been doing some volunteer work. You can also add some accomplishments. So for example, some projects you've done, or honors, awards, courses you've taken, maybe publications you've written. So make sure you add all of that. Again, if you're a young professional, you're starting your career, this is really where you showcase how active you are and your achievements. Also, your interests is another section that when someone's looking at your profile, they can see that. And interest is about who, for example, what companies you follow, or if you're following influencers or something like that. Also make sure to follow. If this section is empty, it doesn't look great. So make sure you're following some companies, some influencers, maybe some schools, to kind of showcase your interests as well. Skills. Actually, students who add 5 or more skills to their profile receive up to 17 times more profile views. Very important to keep in mind. Think about any relevant skills you have acquired from internships or from projects at school, and add them. Also consider getting a recommendation maybe from professor or teacher when it comes to this skill, or anything you might have done. It can always help as well. But do add your skills, because again, think keywords here, and don't if you don't feel like there's a skill that you have, but you don't feel like it's going to help you with your career, skip it. It's up to you for sure how to do it. But it's okay to skip if you know something that you don't think is relevant. Like I, for example, went 4 years to an art school back in the days. I don't have that on my profile. Why? I mean, I don't think it's relevant to my career. But if you want to add that, if you think this is going to add something, some interesting twist to your professional image, go ahead. So there's no right or wrong, once again. And we talked about the summary. So I can see, I think it was around 60% of people who actually have a summary. If you don't, I recommend to add it. Summary is really something like your elevator pitch, who you are as a professional, where you can focus on your both accomplishments, but also aspirations. You can keep it short, so just a few sentences is totally fine. Don't think about it a lot. But actually, I think it's a bit difficult to write a summary. It's not easy, but I do recommend to do it. And it's a bit easier to do it sometimes when you already have filled in your profile with other stuff, like all your work experience, all your volunteering and achievements, and then summarize yourself. Who am I as a professional, and who do I want to be? And again, summary is a great opportunity to add keywords. So even if you don't have, like, let's say you want to be a digital marketeer, but you don't have experience working in digital marketing yet, write that you want to work in digital marketing, because why not? Like, how does a recruiter otherwise, looking at your profile, find out that this is what you want to work with if you don't put it on your profile, right? So do it. I recommend. So let's talk now a little bit about networking and building community on LinkedIn. So how can this help you launch your career? So one of the things, and I think this is really largely underused on LinkedIn, is the alumni tool. Every school, every university, and of course SSC as well, has a page, or a lot of them have a page on LinkedIn. And there is an alumni section in that page that you can actually go through and see your fellow alumni. You can see, for example, oh, how many alumni in this example, are working for JP Morgan or the company you are applying to. And then you can identify those people, and it's totally like, I mean, if you feel like you can reach out to them, do that. Because still, with all the digital economy, and everything that's going on digitally these days, number one way companies recruit is through referrals still. And it, I think, is going to be quite a long time going forward, because when you're recruiting someone, you want some live person, ideally, to confirm that this is a great person. Simple as that. We are still human beings, digitalized or not. So utilize that and utilize the alumni tool because it can help you with your next career move. Some more networking advice I wanted to give. Kind of, and I especially, I saw that 55% of respondents today said that you are never posting on LinkedIn. It's all right. I understand. I recommend to start if you feel like it. I think it's a little bit hard in the beginning to kind of, so where do I start? What do I post? And another part of that, sorry, I don't know if you hear my son in the background here, but yeah, it's happening. And another part, kind of, when you want to build your network and when you want to find a new opportunity, don't wait until you're looking for a job to start networking, because it's a long-term kind of thing. And your network, for many people, it takes years to build it. And that's fine as well, because that's a kind of a constantly evolving kind of thing. So start anytime. Don't wait until, it's urgent, so to say, because then it cannot help you. And when you want to start networking, think about, okay, who can I talk to? Do I know someone who is really good at networking? Maybe they can give me some advice. Share your professional goals with your friends, your family, co-workers. There's tons of people that can help you. So just kind of try to start. Simple as that, this part of advice. The network you have already now, nurture it. So for example, any mentors you have had, maybe some professors at school, or maybe your former co-workers or your former boss at your previous internship, add them on LinkedIn as connections. Maybe write them an email if you feel like, and say, or when you're adding someone, you can also write a message. Hi, I would love to stay in touch. You were my professor in this and that, and I think you made a big difference for me. That would be really great if we can stay in touch. Why not do that? You never know when and how the next person in your network will help you. People actually like to help each other. And I'm sure that if someone reaches out to yourself and asks for help, you probably will try to help. And there's nothing wrong about that. It's just human, and it's great. So keep that in mind. And if you need help, reach out to people that you know. And then another part is kind kind of build a board of advisors. So think about the people you know and trust that can actually take you somewhere. Once again, there's nothing wrong about asking for help. So if you know someone who can be your advocate, who knows you very well on a professional level, it can be a close friend, it can be family, it can be a professor you have a great relationship with. Kind of connect with that person, ask for help. Many people will agree. The strategic in, something that we call, is maybe you know some well-connected people who can actually help make a connection on your behalf. Again, think of who this can be. And some subject matter experts. So for example, if you're interested in working in a certain industry, who do you know who already works there? Who can you go to ask questions of what companies are big in there? Where should I work? How do I get a job in there? Or maybe it can be not about the job. Maybe it can be about something completely different. But think about it in that way. Following companies, I remember that quite a few people were following companies. I believe it was 74% or something like that. That's great. Following companies allows you to, of course, see updates in your newsfeed once a company posts and so on. But that's not only that. There's another reason why I think you should follow companies on LinkedIn. And that's because, so I was mentioning LinkedIn Recruiter, for example, the tool that recruiters use to hire talent. Company followers and people who engage with their brand. So for example, you liked or shared their update or commented on it or something like that, are actually highlighted in a special folder in Recruiter. So recruiters can go to that folder and reach out to you knowing that you're already familiar with their brand. So maybe you're more likely to respond to their message. So do that, interact with updates, comment on updates. If it's relevant, don't overdo it if it doesn't make sense, But if you feel like, oh, that's something interesting and I would like to comment on that, do it, because this will make you more visible for them. Jobs. LinkedIn has a whole section on jobs. It's big. There's a lot of tools in there you can find. It's under linkedin.com/jobs. Use it to look for jobs. But another thing you can do is also set up job alerts for the companies you're interested in. I'm going to show you how to do it in a few minutes in a demo. Follow influencers. Nice for showcasing your interests, but also for yourself to stay updated about what's going on in the world. Join groups. That is also a good way to network. So it's people who have same interests with you, and the posts that are posted in LinkedIn groups, you will also see in your newsfeed, and you can actually connect to people who share those interests. You can also network with them and so on. So again, it can be a really, really relevant thing to do. And now a little bit on sharing updates. So something that the majority in this group I know is not doing. LinkedIn is a social platform. There's a lot of people who post on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people who don't, of course, which is completely normal. But the engagement from what we can see is growing continuously. And when you want to stay visible for your network, so let's say going back to what I was talking about, you have thought of what people can help you, you have added them as your connections, maybe written them a message and everything like that. But you don't really, write an email to everyone all the time to just stay connected, because that's too much to start with. And maybe there's no good reason you would write messages to people all the time, right? But you want to stay visible. So sharing status updates is actually one of the ways to stay visible, and maybe to position yourself as someone interested in a certain topic. So if you have, for example, a bunch of people in your network, they will see your updates in their newsfeed as well. And then, you know, you will be top of mind for them also. So think about it in that way as well. And I wanted to, because I know we'll often get this question. So yeah, but how do I post and what's the best practices? And it's just so hard to start. So I wanted to give some best practices on that. So first of all, share your authentic voice, like be yourself, kind of be your professional self. So how are you, or how do you want to be at work? Be that. Don't be too official, too formal. That doesn't make sense. But just be how you would be. Especially in Sweden, I think is a country where, you know, people are generally quite informal. So that's fine. Don't overthink it. Just be like, just share how you would speak, kind of. And if you have a thought or an idea that you would like to ball around with your network, do it. Just post a question. That's totally fine. Post frequently. It's good to post a couple of times a week. I myself don't really always get to that. But if you want to build your network actively and kind of really ensure that it starts working for you, do it to stay visible. It's good to be to post frequently, actually. Start a conversation or share your point of view. So let's say you read an article or you saw an update from a company that was very insightful. You can share that, or you can share that article, for example, that you read, and write something that you thought was interesting. Simple as that. And again, it doesn't have to be too official or too complicated. It's just your thoughts. Share your point of view and see, maybe there is some people who will share it back with you and enjoy what you wrote. Include rich media to increase engagement. So links, pictures, extremely important. If you don't add a picture, usually the engagement is much lower on your post. You can add video as well. So utilize rich media when you post. And then I also wanted to, before the latest one, you can tag people, of course, in a post. So for example, if you post something that's some idea from an article you think is interesting, and you can think of a few people that actually could share your point of view, tag those people and see, guys, what do you think? Yeah. You can also add hashtags, of course, that also helps with visibility. Yeah, but tagging, really think about tagging people. This is something that gives a lot of visibility. Because if you tag someone, it will show up for them, of course, but it will show up for their connections too in their feeds. And create opportunity for reciprocity. That's something, you know, kind of asking for help is completely fine, but you can also offer help. So it works both ways. Kind of create that possibility for people to reciprocate on something you did, or vice versa, ask for help. People love helping, and then maybe you can help them at a later stage as well. So just kind of starting that dialogue is completely fine. And before we go into a demo, I just wanted to talk a little bit about new skills. So maybe you have heard about, yeah, I already mentioned that we have the research running at LinkedIn a lot about skills, what kind of skills are important these days, and so on. So I wanted to show you the top 5 soft skills, such as creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, that are growing. Top 10 hard skills, blockchain became #1 out of nowhere just last year. Things are changing entirely. To launch a career, think of what skills you have and what skills you need. And there is free courses on LinkedIn Learning you can take, for example. You can also pay for a subscription, but there's a lot of free stuff you can get. Take that if you feel like you're missing a skill. Or it doesn't have to be even LinkedIn for that matter. Like back in the day, I felt like I needed an update on Google Analytics for myself. Google also offers free courses on their technology. Do it, take it, add it to your profile. It's going to help you a lot. So with that, I know we're a bit running out of time. Maybe you, Chen or Anna, could you suggest how much time I have left just for the presentation part? To see if I have time for the demo.
I think maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, so that we have time for some questions too at the end. The event is scheduled to finish at 1:15 for everybody who's here. Yeah.
Wonderful. So then that's totally fine. So I told you I promised I was going to share LinkedIn Recruiter. So the back end of LinkedIn, so to say, that recruiters use to hire talent. So this is the tool, and I just wanted to show you how the search works to kind of show how, kind of from their perspective, how this works. And this is why it's so important with keywords, as I was talking about. So this is the tool when I started a new search simply. So when you search for people, you can add anything from job titles, maybe marketing manager, yeah. You can add locations that are relevant to you. So many different, schools, companies you work for, the university you study at, and there's tons of different filters. You can also use keywords, and a lot of people are using that. For example, digital marketing. And so on. So this tool, if you don't add keywords such as marketing manager, or if you're looking for that, or digital marketing and so on, you will not be found. So just never forget that. And ensure that if you're looking for an opportunity, your profile actually is updated properly. And I also wanted to show this folder of people that have engaged with you. So there's this little spotlight over here, and you can always see people who, for example, engage with your talent brand. So that's a reason to follow companies. That's also a reason to like, share, and engage. Utilize that. And then, so that's a really tiny sneak peek into the recruiter tool. I think that I don't have more time for this, but you get the idea. And then I wanted to share another thing, and I told about upskilling and how you can help yourself upskill. Just Google, you can Google for free LinkedIn learning courses. You will land to this page. It's just on a LinkedIn site. There's tons of things for job seekers, for remote workers, for managers and leaders, for reducing stress. Check it out. Check what can be interesting to you. So there's a lot of, and this is all for free. This is free resources, so use them. And then if we go to LinkedIn, I also wanted to talk quickly about the jobs section and setting up job alerts. So this is just my LinkedIn, and maybe I want to take Microsoft as an example company. So to follow, you simply press here unless you're already following the company. But how do you set up a job alert that you're notified about jobs? So you can do it from here, but then it will notify you about all of the jobs in the world for Microsoft. Maybe that's not super relevant, right? So you can actually personalize this a little bit. You can go from worldwide to Sweden, let's say, or wherever you're looking for a job. Maybe you can add some titles or skills and so on. Yeah, by the way, I'm using an extension here. That's 1 second. That hides some of the stuff a little bit. So to personalize this, now we see normal jobs. So to personalize this, kind of add your parameters, maybe some skills here, experience level, anything you would like to add in the job. And this is where you can set the job alert like this. First of all, Microsoft will be notified once you do this. Nice. Second of all, you will actually be receiving notifications about any relevant job for yourself. So that's really nice. And then in the jobs section, something I wanted to share. So just when you log into linkedin.com and click jobs over here. Something that a lot of people don't notice is this little button called More. Once you click it, you can actually find resources for interview prep, resume builder, which is something that I really wanted to show to you. So if you click here on interview prep, there's a tons of good questions that you can actually prepare yourself for with sample answers. And again, you can access it with no problem. And the same with for resume.
Anna, sorry to interrupt you. I think your screen is frozen.
Oh, it is. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, like this. Okay. Thanks for bringing this up. So I'm on linkedin.com now, like this, the jobs section, jobs. And here, there's this little button called More. Now you can see it, right, Anna? Yeah, great.
Yes.
So once you click here, you can see interview prep resources, resume builder that can help you from your LinkedIn profile or without it, build a resume. Use this. This is all available to you, as I mentioned. So that's that. I think what I wanted to show. It's not so much, but I mostly I have talked through things, and hopefully, when it comes to updating your profile, it's fairly intuitive experience on LinkedIn. So hopefully you can add this information. So let's maybe move on to the Q&A section. I'm just going to open. Yeah, all right. So let's start with this. How to think in regards to creating engaging content on LinkedIn and not just bragging posts. Good one. I mean, as I mentioned, think of maybe an article you read. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, of course, you can share about, I don't know, internship update, job update. That's great. But think about an interesting article you shared or you read. Share a thought related to that article, tag some people that can be interested, or write an article yourself. There isn't actually there is also a tool on LinkedIn to write an article instead. So for example, if I'm still sharing my screen, so you can start a post, but you can write an article. It provides a bit bigger, like a tool here to actually write an article instead. That's not bragging, that's expressing your thoughts. So I think that that can be some of the ideas. Or sharing someone else's post, commenting on that. All of this can be considered the things that maybe are, you know, insightful to share. Next question. With regards to the profile information, it's as much as you say it's as much as you want, but I wonder what does the algorithm prefer if you want to maximize your visibility in searches. So I mean, realistically speaking, the algorithm will show, especially if we're talking about recruiter tool, it will show the more you have hits on your profile for these keywords, the higher up you will be in the search results. So I guess more is better in this case would be the answer, than more than less, because profiles that are not filled in, that you only have a job title, usually end up on the last pages of the search. And more or less no one ever gets there. Hope this answers the question. is there a don't show updates button so that the updates of my profile don't show in others' feed? So you mean when you update your profile with profile information, right? Yeah, absolutely, there is one. So if you go to, like if I go to my profile, for example, press here, edit. I don't know what I can edit so that it's not too yeah, maybe I change my pronouns. Oh no, usually when you, that's not enough. So maybe when you give, when you make a change, there pops up thing here, kind of a little pop-up that says share or not share this update. So just switch it off. So I hope that helps. Let me open the questions again. LinkedIn group best practices. So I think with groups, the best is to ask questions, if you ask me. Like usually, you know, if it's a group, then people have common interests there with you, clearly. So use that. I mean, you have a question about what's your best tips on something, post that question. I'm sure a lot of great people are going to respond. So posting questions, maybe starting a discussion really would be that. Are there any specific files that you would like to recommend uploading to your profile, like resume, grades, certificates? I think, I mean, resume, maybe your profile is sort of your resume, like it's the same information-ish, more or less, on one and the other. So I don't know, you can upload it if you want, but I don't know how much value it will add if you have uploaded specifically to the profile, but you can do it. Go ahead. Grades, I have never seen anyone add grades myself, but maybe that's something people do. Sure, I mean, if you want to showcase that you're a top performer, absolutely, why not? Certificates, totally, absolutely, yes. There's a special place for that as well, so do it. And then another thing I wanted to, I guess, mention is more like rich media content. So for example, when it comes to your work, you can actually add some rich media to that. So here I have uploaded something. So you can add pictures, or you can add a presentation, a cool presentation you did for a project or something like that. Showcase that if you have something really great to share, do that. That can make also the profile really lively. I'm not as good at this, as you can see. I haven't added much, but do it. This is fantastic. Okay, so let's see, it's 1:08, and I think we have a couple more questions still that came in afterwards. How does keywords work when it comes to different languages? If a profile is in English, will Swedish recruiters find my profile? So yes, they will. Recruiter also, it does translation as well, kind of. First of all, English is always better to have as a version of your profile, because still, like, you know, English is a very universal language, and Recruiter works really well with English. If you only have your profile in Swedish, I would recommend to add English version. Even if it's only in Swedish, you will still be visible, or Swedish or any native language for that matter. But kind of Recruiter will translate certain things for you, but not always perfectly. So always good to have an English version as well. Something that I want to show in this regard is actually, here I'm on my profile, add profile in another language. So when you click here, you can actually add several versions of your profile in several languages. So you can have one in Swedish, one in English, and depending on the language the viewer has on their profile, they will see the one that matches theirs. So if they have a Swedish profile, they will see your Swedish version. If they have a German profile and you only have an English version, then the English will pop up and so on. So think of, if you speak several languages, you can definitely create profile in several languages. That will help even better. Let's see if there's any more questions. Some home pages cannot be linked to. Is there any technical issue? I don't know. I'm not sure where are you referring to this? Is that when you make an update or something else? But generally, I don't know. I'm not aware of any technical issue when it comes to this. I think I would need an exact use case to be able to answer. Okay, we have 4 minutes to go and some more questions are coming in. Let's see if how many we managed to answer.
I think one more, and then maybe we should start wrapping it up.
Okay, great. Anna, what was the latest to you after
There's
the
one
home
here.
pages?
What's the value in having a premium subscription?
Okay. Well, I have one, but that's because I work at LinkedIn. It offers you more possibility when it comes to, for example, LinkedIn Learning courses. It provides additional analytics to the jobs you apply, and some other tools are available for you, some extra tools when it comes to job seeking, for example. There's different types of premiums, but if it's the job seeking one, you can increase your visibility. I would encourage you to actually, just to be honest, to Google for it and see what kind of features it has, since I'm not expert on exact list of features it has. But I think the value is in a bit more data that you get, some LinkedIn Learning capabilities, and more tools for you to be able to look for jobs. So a bit more opportunities in there. Plus more people you can reach out to with email. Okay, I think that would be it.
No, I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, any other questions you have afterwards? You know, we have an excellent career management team that I'm sure can help you as well in terms of career related issues, or reach out to us in the alumni office. But I really want to thank you so much, Anna, for this very enlightening session, both on how to create an outstanding LinkedIn profile and also how to best utilize LinkedIn to expand your network. And speaking of, I would like to welcome all of you to join the SSE Alumni and Students LinkedIn group if you're not members already. The link will be posted here in the chat. It will also be added in the send out with the recording of this event. And also, I want to thank you all for attending, and please keep an eye out for the short evaluation survey that we will send out together with the recording here after the event. We would really, really appreciate your feedback. So thank you so much, and don't be strangers on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and yeah, if you have any questions to me, I'm reachable through LinkedIn, so feel free.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.